Good afternoon. We have two more sections to read. So your next to last section is the fatal struggle, Beowulf's last moments. So all my awesome seniors, have your stuff ready. We're going to read through this, and I think you're going to be just fine. And yes, I noticed some of you started working on the units. Awesome. So happy. And please ignore my nephew in the background. Mother's essential. All right, so the fatal struggle, Beowulf's last moments. Wiglaf defends Beowulf. Then I heard that at need of the king of the people, the upstanding earlman exhibited prowess, vigor, and courage as suited his nature. He his head did not guard, but the high-minded legionman's hand was consumed when he succored his kinsman. So he struck the strife-bringing strange comer lower, the Earl Thane in armor, that in went the weapon. Gleaming and plated then the fire. Beowulf draws his knife, later to lessen. The liege lord himself then retained his consciousness, brandished his war knife, battled sharp, bitter that he bare on his armor, and cuts the dragon. The Wheater Lord cut the worm in the middle. They had felled the enemy, life drove out of the pursuant prowess. The pair had destroyed him. Land chiefs were leaded, so a liegeman should prove him. A Thaneman when needed. To the prince 'twas the last of his era of conquest. By his own great achievements, Beowulf's wound swells and burns, the latest of world deeds. The wound then began, which the earth-dwelling dragon erstwhile had wrought him. Okay, we're going to pause right here. So all that's happened is Beowulf has started battling his dragon. Now this is many years, a long time after he fought Grendel's mother. Now if you remember the last section that we focused on, he had to battle Grendel's mother because he kind of sort of killed her baby. Well, this dragon is unrelated to Grendel and his mother. What had happened, to use y'all's phrase, what had happened, because we know it's fiction, is that Beowulf ended up taking Hrothgar's throne. It got left to him. He had to take over. Whatever had happened with Hrothgar's heir, it ended up with Beowulf. It's not important to this, is why I'm not going into detail. So, whenever Hrothgar passed, Beowulf took the throne. He married Hrothgar's widow, because you remember, some of y'all noticed, he was kind of making eyes at her. He really liked her. And of course, he ruled, and he was a guy, and he was a guy's guy, and yeah, there's girls he liked, stuff like that. But the point is that he had taken over. It was his kingdom now, and it was his kingdom to defend. Then all of a sudden, this dragon, like just out of nowhere, this dragon comes and starts attacking. And so Beowulf is called to be a hero now. But now he's a little less than he was as when he was younger. He's a little bit older. A lot bit older, but still, he's older. And he goes to fight, and he gets hurt. Now notice some of this description that's coming up. To burn and to swell. He soon then discovered that bitterest bell woe in his bosom was raging, poison within. The atheling advanced then. He sits down exhausted, that along by the wall he prudent of spirit might sit on a settle. He saw the giant work, how arches of stone strengthened with pillars, the earth hall internal, inward supported. Then the long worthy liegeman laved with his hand. The Wiglaf bathes his lord's head. Far famous chieftain, glory from sword edge, refreshing the face of his friend, lord, and ruler. Sated with battle and binding his helmet, Beowulf answered of his injury spake he. His wound that was fatal he was fully aware. He had lived his allotted life days enjoying the pleasures of earth, then past was entirely his measure of days. Death very near. Essentially, Beowulf knows that he's going to die. That's all that description is telling us. Beowulf knows that he is dying. And Wiglaf is there tending to him. Wiglaf has been, like if you remember in the other ones, the other sections, Wiglaf was mentioned. He's been beside Beowulf's side this whole time now. Beowulf regrets that he has no son. Now, if you remember some previous units that we did, I talked about how important with the line of inheritance that there's a son. Now, every single area has its differences. That means some places a girl could rule, some places that's not going to happen. Remember, this is around Denmark. We talked about Denmark with Hamlet, just because, hey, happenstance, that's what we're given for work. And so, he has no son. Notice it doesn't say no daughters. This shows us that the inheritance was passed through the son. So if he had no son, he had nobody to leave his kingdom to. He has to pick a successor. My son, I would give now my battle equipments. In other words, he would hand his armor to him, his sword, probably his crown too, yeah. All of it. Had any heirs been after me granted, along of my body, this people I governed 50 of winters. So he's been king for 50 years. No king among my neighbors. Dare to encounter me with comrades in battle. Try me with terror. The time to me ordered, I bided at home. Mine own kept fitly. Source me no snares. Swore me not many. I can rejoice in a well spent life. Oaths and injustice, joy over all this. So essentially, he's been king all these years. Nobody has tried to take the land. Things have been peaceful. It's been quiet. His subjects love him. He's lamenting over how great his life was, and that's really important at this point. Yes, he's watching TV. He earned this. He did his homework. So, I'm able to have, though ill with my death wounds. Hence the ruler of earthmen need not charge me with the killing of kinsmen. When cometh my life out, forth from my body, fare thou with haste now. Bring me the hoard Wiglaf, that my dying eyes may be refreshed by a sight of it. To behold the hoard near the horror grayish stone. Well loved Wiglaf, now the worm is alive. Sore wounded, sleepeth, deceased of his treasure. Go thou in haste, that treasures of old I, gold wealth, may gaze on. Together see lying the ether bright jewels, be easier able. Have the heaps of hoard gems to yield my life, the land folk whom long I have governed. Now, before I click this off, notice who he left his kingdom to. He gave it to Wiglaf. And that is who's going to be his successor. So he has endowed everything he had to Wiglaf. All right. I'll have you another one ready in a little bit. See ya. Love y'all.